And welcome to this edition of ACAP Today for the week of July 20, 2020. I'm Jason Parent with the Aroostook County Action Program. On this week's program, we're going to welcome back Greg Doak, who previously spoke with us about homeowner foreclosure and the challenges around that through this pandemic. We're going to get a quick update on that, but then we're going to talk with him about the Homebuyer Education Program that ACAP offers and how that's seen an uptick in the number of individuals interested in the program and what you might want to consider out there if you're potentially interested in becoming a home buyer. So we'll hear from Greg about all of that in just a few minutes. But before we do that, as we do on each edition of ACAP Today, we're going to get to some of the news of the day and information that you can use in terms of the services and programs that we're offering to individuals countywide. First of all, just this note that our offices now are open by appointment. You certainly can call our number here at 764-3721 and we will schedule an appointment with you where you're allowed to obviously come into the building. We do the same in our Holton Center. Both of those facilities are available by appointment at this point, but we're also offering curbside service at those facilities as well. So if you arrive at one of those facilities, specifically here at 771 Main Street in Presque Isle, please do feel free to call the number 764-3721. Let us know that you're out there and we will send a curbside attendant out there to work with you right in your vehicle. We also wanted to let you know that we continue to be available for all virtually. Our staff are regularly meeting via platforms like this, Zoom, or over the phone, or in other ways at a distance. So please do reach out to us. All of our services are now available and open for individuals. As you'll hear over the coming slides, how some of those are serving customers as well. WIC is one of those programs, and that has been relocated here to 771 Main Street for the Presque Isle home base of the WIC program, and where clinics will be held moving forward. The Women, Infant, and Children's program has been established here at our center, and in addition to doing in-person appointments inside the building, we are also offering these booths outside of our building that have been constructed with window service for individuals to connect with our WIC program. Please do call the WIC program if you need to schedule an appointment for WIC. They are seeing folks here. They're actually in our Holton office this week as well, where they'll be offering window side service there for customers, or inside service as the customers prefer. So again, WIC has been relocated in Presque Isle to 771 Main Street. Speaking of the WIC program, they will host their first clinic here at this facility this Tuesday, July 21st. In addition to hosting a clinic here, they will also be hosting the first farmers market of the season. The Women, Infant, and Children's program has hosted a farmers market for a few decades now. During some of their summer sessions here in Presque Isle. In addition to the July 21st dates, further dates out include August 6th, 12th, and 27th, and the final WIC Farmers Market, I should say, will be available between on the 1st of September. All of these are scheduled for 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. However, produce does run short toward the end of the day. And in addition to WIC customers, members of the public are also encouraged to visit the farmers clinic, or farmers market, I should say, and that will be available here at 771 Main Street as opposed to at Gouldville, where it had been held in recent years. We also want to remind folks of our Navigator program. If you are out there and have been impacted by COVID-19 economically, your household has been economically impacted, we do encourage you to reach out to us. We are available to help, and in doing so, we have set up a few Navigator positions that allow folks to connect individuals with services across the spectrum, folks who are aware of what services may be available. We are also offering through the Department of Health and Human Services a program that assists individuals who have been asked to quarantine. So if there is a need for that service as well, to provide a number of services home side to those individuals, that service is also accessible and available through our Navigator and coaching services. A lot of folks have also asked us about health insurance, as folks' employment have been impacted by COVID-19. If you have had your health insurance impacted by your employment situation, please contact us. We have a health insurance marketplace navigator, Stan Targonski, who is available to help guide you through the process if the marketplace is the place for you to be getting health insurance. 764-3721 actually is the number that you want to call to reach us directly as it relates to that. The rental relief program, we're hoping to have more information to you on a new program that is expected to begin on August 1st, but funding has been extended for the current program through Maine Housing through July 31st. So if you have not been able to pay your July rent at this point and have not previously received funding through the rental assistance program through Maine Housing, you could be eligible up for a one-time payment of up to $500 to support your rent payment if your household has been impacted by COVID-19 economically. Please do reach out. You can go to mainhousing.org/COVID-rent to apply directly online, or we can help you with that application by calling our office here and asking for the housing department. Quitting smoking is difficult and challenging times, and not certainly difficult in the best of times, I should say, but certainly in these challenging times, as folks consider quitting smoking, you don't want to do it alone, and we do have a program that can support you through that. Elaine Sipe is our tobacco cessation expert, and she's available to help you electronically at a distance over the phone. She has groups that she can bring together via Zoom and other methods. So please do consider, if you're considering quitting smoking, reaching out to us at 554-4151 or emailing Elaine Sipe at the address there on your screen. If you are a young adult between the ages of 16 and 24, we are hoping that you will join us and connect with us in the St. John Valley on August 7th. We will be doing 2 outreach events at the Market Pavilion in Madawaska from 10 to noon and at Riverside Park in Fort Kent from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. There will be ACAP team members there to talk about several of our programs, including improving outcomes for youth, our career counseling, family coaching, drug-free heuristic programs, and resources, and the WIC program will also be there as well. It's a great time to connect with us and also to get a snack. We'll have some free chips and ice cream there available, and the first 25 individuals in the age category from 16 to 24 to come and complete an information punch card will receive a gift card, a $25 gift card. So please do consider coming out, even if you're not in the age category of 16 to 24. We'd love to connect with you in Madawaska and in Fort Kent on the 7th of August. We also want to remind folks that our Hope and Prosperity Resource Center has reopened. It's reopened as of today, July 20th, at 975 Skyway Drive in the Industrial Park. This is replacing our Hope and Prosperity Wellness Shelter at the University of Maine at Presque Isle that we kept open for 3 months to help individuals who were experiencing homelessness. This returns us to day services similar to what we had at 771 Main Street in Presque Isle prior to the pandemic. If you or someone you know is experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, this is a great resource center for you to be able to visit. There are coaches available there to spend the day with you, working on getting in a better housing situation, also connecting with employment and other valuable resources in our community and here at the agency. The Presque Isle Recreation and Parks Department, in partnership with ACAP, will be offering a gentle yoga activity for seniors. Please do contact the Parks and Recreation Department at 764-2545 if you would like to register. The yoga activity will take place in Mantle Lake Park, and it will be held on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. for 4 consecutive weeks, weather permitting. Please do contact Parks and Rec if you have an interest in getting involved in the Senior Yoga Series. And we are also partnering with Northern Light A.R. Gould Hospital on another project. This is their Walk with a Doc program for the month of July. Dr. Renee Fournier and Dr. Maria Rudman will be leading the walk this time around. And we encourage you to bring the kids to this one because obviously Dr. Fournier in particular is a pediatrician, so it's a great opportunity for you to connect with the kids and some medical experts and get some great exercise in at the same time. There will, of course, be activities and refreshments available, and we encourage you to participate in this socially distancing outdoor activity at Mantle Lake Park, again, Friday, July 24th from 10 to 11 And finally, in our news you can use and information we want to share with you today, a reminder that ACAP is conducting a community-wide needs assessment all throughout Aroostook County, and we do want your voice. It helps to determine the underlying causes and conditions of poverty within the community we serve, and it also helps to develop our community action plan and our strategic plans moving forward. We want to hear from you. Please go to our website or go to our Facebook link and take the SurveyMonkey tool there. If you need it on paper, we are happy to send it to you. Just give us a call here at 764-3721, and we will gladly send out a paper survey that you can return to us, even with a included postage paid envelope. So no cost to you at all, and it's a great help to us in our planning and better understanding what the community needs are at this time. And so with that, that's this week's news and information you can use. I am pleased now to welcome back to ACAP Today, Greg Doak, who is ACAP's both homeowner foreclosure specialist, a homeownership counselor, as well as the homebuyer education leader for our agency. And Greg, it's great to welcome you back to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So Greg, let's start. We're going to talk more about the homebuyer education program, but I just did want to get a quick update from you about where things stand with homeowner foreclosure. I know that the courts have not been doing these cases in a while, and what are you hearing from the courts at this point, and what are you seeing in terms of what's happening on the local scene?
What we're hearing from the courts are that they will be opening back up on August 3rd. That being said, I don't think we're going to see a large influx of things happen in the first few weeks thereafter. There are a lot of cases that need to be caught up on. There's a lot of behind the scenes paperwork that's going to have to be done to get these schedules put in order. But anyone that was in foreclosure at that time, in mediation possibly, or working through the court system, will be given priority to have their cases heard. So I expect those to be scheduled in the first few months following that August 3rd reopening date. Folks that are maybe on the cusp of falling into foreclosure, things will get a little bit more active for them at this point. Attorneys' offices are reopening. A lot of them have been closed at this point because there was no activity happening in the court. So overall, we'll see, I think, just a slow start to things getting back to normal and being able to work through the process. And hopefully by early fall, we're back in the full thralls of being able to work through these issues with people.
So Greg, one area that's been anything but slow for you has been homeownership education courses in particular.
Sure.
Talk to me about what you've been experiencing with that hat from the agency perspective.
Sure. Well, I think we have to thank our Federal Reserve and our federal government at this point for paying attention to the trend that happened back in 2007, 8, and 9 when we had a recession. The pandemic stood to really cause one this time around when it comes to both foreclosure and the potential for homeowners to step out and buy a new home. They've done their due diligence and pumped a lot of money into banks to maintain liquidity, to make sure that interest rates stay good and that programs are still there and that there's money able to be lent to homeowners. Having said all of that, we're seeing the best interest rates that we've seen in 10 years. We're seeing employment rebound nicely after the first wave of the pandemic. So what we're seeing are record numbers of people wanting to sign up and take the homebuyer education course and explore the possibility of home ownership given how great the interest rates are right now.
Great. So tell me about what you have been doing, because typically the home ownership classes that you would otherwise hold here at ACAP are in-person classes, and that has not been the case. So talk to me about what's happened with your classes, how you've changed platform, and how they've been going, and what the demand's been like.
We got creative. We've been doing classes through a Zoom platform, which is a webinar-based kind of program. So people are sent the link to the class once they've registered and paid the fee to participate. And we do a live class. People are able to join in from their cell phone, their smartphone, their tablet, their computer, from the comfort of their own home, take part in the class, still receive the same educational benefits and be able to ask questions and participate. We do have our local professionals that are continuing to join us on that platform as well. So we have a real estate agent, someone from a lending institution, someone from an insurance company that join in and give their professional take on where things are at for their area of expertise. So classes have been setting record numbers, which is wonderful.
Been well received as well, right, Greg?
It has been, especially for the young couple, mom and dad, maybe that can't find daycare on a Saturday to come to the class, or just difficulty in getting those schedules to all line up. They're able to mute their audio, if need be, mute their video, so the kids aren't bouncing in and out of their pictures, and participate in a class where otherwise it may have been logistically troublesome to make it. So it's been great.
So aside from the logistics and obviously the many considerations that you have in terms of the time to take such a class, overall, what are some of the considerations if I'm watching this program right now and considering, gosh, I've been in a rental situation and then this might be the time to get into the market and buy a home? What are some of the things that folks want to consider in terms of both that first, do I want to be a homeowner? And
Sure.
secondly, is the Homebuyer Education Class the next best step for me?
Sure. Most lenders, when you're going out now as a first-time homebuyer and wanting to secure financing for that purpose, are requiring that you take some semblance of a homebuyer education program. They put stock in the information that we give to the client, and it helps vet the client before they get to the lender to make sure that they're in a good place to look at buying a home. There are very few exceptions to that rule. Whether or not the student participates in the main housing program, which drives this homebuyer education class, if they're going with a lender that maybe doesn't participate with main housing, but still has their in-house proprietary lending options for first-time homebuyers, they still need to take the class. The lenders want to have that happen. When we talk with someone before they sign up for the class, we like to get some information from them to make sure that the class is a good fit for them at this time. Sometimes it isn't, most of the time it is, but we like to know what stage of the buying process they're at. Is this something they're doing right on the verge of signing documents to buy a house and they just need to fulfill the class in order to get that main housing benefit? Most often that's not the case. We like to know if someone is consistently employed or has a consistent source of income. And it doesn't have to be from a 9-to-5 job. If you have a structured settlement, if you're on Social Security disability, if you have some other semblance of consistent income, lenders will talk with you about purchasing a home. Tied to that is also, have you been employed? If you are in the workforce, if you are earning a paycheck, have you been in the same position for a year or more? Employers like to see consistency. Banks like to see consistency. The main housing program likes to see consistency. We like to know that someone is stable, that they're going to be in that position, earning some semblance of the same level of income as they move forward into buying a home. We segue usually from that into a talk about credit score. Regardless of employment and income, if your credit score is low, you're not going to qualify for most home loans. And a credit score of 640 is pretty much the benchmark across the board, whether it's a main housing loan, a traditional conventional bank loan, or a USDA rural development loan. That 640 is kind of the key to getting somebody in the door. That's not to say you shouldn't take the class if your credit score is below 640. We talk about credit building during the class, and we're able to set people up with the professionals in the industry that can help them build their credit. And we do actually quite a bit of that, more than I thought we would. So it's a good service to have. Last few things we talk about are you going to stay in the area for a few years? Buying a home and then looking to sell within a year or two is really not a good financial decision to make. Typically, you haven't built any equity up in the home at that point in time, so it's kind of a lost money situation. If you're serious about buying, we want to make sure you're serious about staying and making that commitment so that investment in the home works for you financially if you do need to sell a few years down. It's kind of the questions we ask. Not that we want to dive into everyone's personal business too much, but we'd like to make sure that the class is a good fit for people that are exploring the option of home ownership.
So Greg, I want to just revisit the credit score issue, because a lot of folks think that that's an impediment. And certainly if you don't have a credit score above the 640 mark, it could be. But how long does it take to change a credit score? So if you're not there at this point, is it a long process, a long period of time that before your credit score improves?
It depends on the individual, and it really depends on how bad the credit score is, but what got it there. We've had a couple of people take the class in the last few months that have had a 0 for a credit score, not because they had something damaging their credit, but because they had never had credit. They had paid their bills on time. They had never taken out a loan. They had done the things they thought they needed to do to be credit worthy. Unfortunately, they hadn't built credit. So we've helped set them up with secured loans through a local bank where they take out a small loan after they've deposited money into an account, and they use the money they've already deposited to pay the loan off. It seems kind of counterproductive, but it actually helps them establish a credit pattern. So doing those kinds of things can help raise a score quickly. We do tell people that have a low credit score and have a lot of bad debt that it's time to really get serious about working with your creditors. And we actually offer that assistance as well. We don't mind reaching out, making some phone calls, setting up some payment plans, negotiating some payoffs, and trying to help navigate those waters to see the credit score come up. So to answer your question, if it's bad, 6 months to a year. If it's not bad, 3 or 4 months, we can see a credit score rebound by 80 to 100 points.
So it's not a lost cause, and certainly if you're considering and you have a challenging credit score, if you're considering taking the course, it may not be a bad idea to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's talk about the specifics of the class. You mentioned that you do have some guest speakers come in, and we talked about credit score being one of the issues, but you do cover a wide breadth of things in the 8-hour day that you host the class. So talk about what happens with the home buyer. It's called Homeworks, correct?
It is. It's called Homeworks. We walk the students through the process of buying a home from start to finish. We talk about selecting the proper professionals to guide you along the way, real estate agents, again, to find the proper fit for a home for the individual, the proper lender based on what the client might want to have for a loan vehicle, and there are a plethora of options out there. We talk about the closing of the loan and the professionals that they work with at that time, and we go as far as talking about the appraisal process, what makes a home worth what someone is asking for, and the home inspection process. What are the things out there that you as a layperson might not notice when you're looking to buy a house that a professional is going to say, boy, that's not a good selling point for this home. Let's negotiate with the seller to see if they'll rectify that before you make an offer on this house. So we talk about all of those things, and insurance as well. One of our professionals comes in, talks about the different levels of insurance coverage and the things to pay attention for when you're looking at a home.
Now, there are some classes coming up here in the fall, so why don't we talk about those?
Sure. We have a class coming up on August 8th. That one is excitedly full. We're capping out at 30 people for that class at this point. We're also doing a class September 12th, October 10th, and November 14th. Those are all Saturdays. They all begin at 8 a.m. and they last until late afternoon.
Great, and there is availability for the fall classes, the ones that we're showing here on the screen, correct?
Absolutely. All the classes are still open with the exception of the August class. We're getting close to that deadline, and that class is closed. If it were an emergent need, I would certainly make an exception to get somebody in for that date.
How many folks in a typical class?
We're running between 25 and 30 at this point, which is wonderful. It's about double what we did traditionally before the pandemic.
Now, certainly there's obvious benefit to the classes because there's the opportunity to interact, there's the opportunity to ask questions as well, but there's another alternative that we do offer in partnership with Homebuyer eHome America Online. You want to talk about the online course option as well?
Sure. eHome America is a private company that we partner with in order to offer the class as an online tool for students that just can't make it into the traditional class setting. So you're able to sign up through a link on ACAP's website under homeownership. You fill out the necessary registration form and pay the fee for the class, and you're able to start and stop the class proceedings at your own leisure. Typically takes 4 to 6 hours for a student to go through it. And once it's completed, the student and I have to have an interview at the end of the class to review the information to make sure they understood everything that they learned during the class, and that there's not something they're left uncertain of. At that point, we can issue the certificate and they're eligible for the same benefits through the main housing program.
So let's talk about those benefits a little bit more in depth because they are pretty impressive and really get a good homeowner off to a really good start in terms of the purchase of their home. So the benefits of the process.
Absolutely. With a traditional bank loan, not a main housing loan, typically it's required that a buyer will put 20% of the value of the home as a down payment. With the Maine Housing Program, once completing the course and using a lender that participates in Maine Housing programs, the buyer only has to put down 1% of the purchase price of the house. It's a massive savings. Of that 1%, the buyer typically will have to pay for an appraisal as well. That fee for the appraisal, $650 to $700, gets applied toward the down payment. So you're satisfying the majority of your down payment in the normal fees you would have to pay anyway in a traditional loan. The Maine Housing Program also has the best interest rate going out there. Right now it's at 3.625%. We don't expect it to go much higher anytime soon. I would think within the next year, though, we're going to see it start to climb back up again. Right now is a prime opportunity to take advantage of that. The biggest thing I think that comes as a benefit is you get a $3,500 credit towards your closing costs, which is amazing. So by taking the 8-hour class, you're actually getting paid $460 something an hour to sit there and listen to me talk. And then you get the credit at the end of the class going towards your closing costs. So really the program is designed to help first-time home buyers step into a home with as little money out of pocket as possible.
And remind me, what's the actual tuition, the cost for the course?
$30 for an individual, $50 for a couple. And the cost of the course gets credited towards your down payment as well. So it serves double duty.
Wow, that's just incredible. So we did talk to you about the potential of bringing folks on who have worked through your class before, and unfortunately we're taping this on a Monday morning, and most people are out at work. What have you heard from some of your, I understand, very satisfied class attendees?
We've heard some great things, and not just from folks that have been successful, completing the class and then stepping out and buying a home, in a short period of time. We've had some great feedback that said, I thought I was ready. I wasn't. 6 months later, I'll hear from the same person that says, I'm glad I waited. I got my credit score a little better. It made my interest rate so much lower. Was able to plan a little bit more. I bought a house I didn't think I was going to be able to afford because of the benefit of taking the class and doing some changing around with my budgeting. We've had some great success stories. So I'm really happy with the outcome.
And either way, Greg, you get to work with individuals who are, either preparing to make probably what's going to be the biggest purchase of their life, or in some cases trying to protect that asset as they have maybe experienced an opportunity, whether they're going to be going into foreclosure or not. Talk to me about your work and the work that you do with people across Aroostook County, and why it's gratifying to you, because I know you do share that it's very gratifying to you to do this work.
It's unique because I'm at both ends of the spectrum. I get to help someone understand their potential for home ownership, recognize that potential, step out and like you said, make arguably the largest purchase that they're going to make in their adult life, and start a new chapter for themselves, with something that they own, with something that they're building equity in, with something that they can call their own. No one plans to fall into foreclosure. No one ever sets themselves up to say, it's okay, I'm just going to let this go into foreclosure in a few years and everything is going to be fine. It's as rewarding to help someone get a home as it is to help someone stay in their home when they've had a financial hardship. Maybe it was something as simple as a medical condition or a loss of a job, or unfortunately the loss of a spouse or a loved one that's caused them to be in a different set of circumstances than they were when they bought the home. The success rate is extremely high. Banks don't want homes. They want their money. They don't want to be in the real estate business. So due diligence on the part of the homeowner and some effort on our part most often goes a long way toward rectifying what otherwise would be a very sad outcome.
So what have we missed? Anything else that you want to add before we close this program out?
People need to reach out on both accounts. If they're interested in buying a home, please reach out to us and tell us you'd like some information about homebuyer education. If you think you're going to be in foreclosure, if you're in foreclosure, reach out. There's absolutely no shame in asking for help. Again, no one wants to be in this position. They didn't ask to get there, and there are resources statewide to help rectify that problem.
Great advice, Greg Doak, and a great segue to the next piece of information that we want to share with you, which is just what Greg Doak said, whether it's for homeowner buyer education course information or homeownership foreclosure potential information and counseling around that, or any of the other services that ACAP provides, or if you're in need of something, especially during this pandemic, please do reach out to us by phone, by email at the information there on your screen. Connect with us on our Facebook page. We're very active there. Search for us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel which has past recorded episodes of this program there, as well as some wonderful things that our early care and education and prevention professionals have placed up there for you. And we're also available on our website at acap-me.org, a new and improved website coming in the month of August, and we look forward to that. So please do reach out to us in that regard. And we end this week, as we do each week, with sharing with you our snapshot of the week, and we take you to far southern Aroostook for this snapshot. Students at the RSU 50 ACAP collaboration classroom will be returning to a beautiful and safe playground complete with new resurfacing this fall when they return, hopefully, to their classroom and can play outside on the playground in a socially distancing way, of course. This is a partnership for the perfect playground down at RSU 50 in Dyer Brook, down in southern Aroostook, and we thank that partnership, that school, for their continued partnership as we look ahead to the fall and hopefully starting with children in session at the RSU 50 Southern Aroostook Community School there. And with that, that's this week's ACAP Today. My thanks to Greg Doak for being our guest on today's program, and my thanks to all of you for joining us. We'll be back next week with another edition. Until then, have a great week, everyone.